Good evening. It is October 1st, 2024, and we are calling the Groton Town Council regular meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Town Clerk, would you like to take the roll call?
Councilor Groton.
Here.
Gajewski.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
McBride.
Here.
Merritt.
Here.
Parker. Here. Pacino.
Here.
Rusk.
Here.
And Mayor Franco.
I am here. Up next is salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, up next, we don't have any recognition awards or memorials. The public hearing. Town Clerk?
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Groton Town Council on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, Groton, Connecticut, in Community Room 1, to receive comments on a proposal to amend Section 5.3 of the Town Blight Ordinance. The proposed amendment is to include the following: reducing the town population minimum from 35,000 to 15,000 to allow a part of interest to file a petition for the appointment of a receiver to take possession and rehab a building, allowing reduced assessments of property, and allowing agents of the municipality to enter property for the purpose of remediating blight conditions, allowing the municipality to take immediate remediation action when there are 3 or more violations at a property during a 12-month period, fines of not more than $150 a day that a violation occurs on an occupied property, $250 per day that a violation continues on a vacant property, and not more than $1,000 per day if the violation is the 3rd or more violation during a 12-month period. Fines for multiple family and commercial buildings can be based upon square footage. Dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 20th day of September, 2024, Marisol Melendez, Groton Town Clerk.
Okay, thank you. I have the sign-up sheet for the public hearing. I have nobody signed up. Would anybody like to speak on the blight ordinance changes? Okay, I don't hear anybody, so I will make sure I give that back to the clerk, and we will move on to receipt of citizens' petitions, comments, and concerns. Hold on 1 second. This is the portion of the council agenda where the council welcomes comments from the public. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or as directed by the mayor, and if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Town councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation. All presentations shall be made from the lectern and should include the speaker's name and address for the record. Okay, I have a sign-up sheet. First, we have Joe Morelli. Come on up to the lectern and state your name and address. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Murley, and my wife Jody and I live at 14 Pearl Street in Mystic. I'd like to speak about our experience living 4 houses away from Main Street in downtown Mystic, and having lived in that general vicinity for the last 17 years, both on the Stonington side and the Groton side, last 12 years on the Groton side. We love the location and have relished the idea that, we could restore this 1800s house and have a view of the Mystic River and keep our boat on the river and walk downtown and have dinner and know the bartender's name. We generally like to sit at the bar because, Jody accuses me of being overly talkative. So if you're sitting at the table, there's only so much you can do. But lately, with the development, which obviously is obvious to everybody, there's pressures on the residential side of Mystic. And I'm speaking almost exclusively about Pearl and Gravel Street, which are right off of Main Street. And there are 4 specific issues. I have printed something up and handed it out, and I also took the liberty of emailing a copy to all of the board members as well before the meeting. But I do want to make comments on those 4 points within the limitations of my 5 minutes that I have. Jody accuses me of turning it into 50 minutes, but I promise I won't do that. I know it's the evening and we all want to get home. And thank you, by the way, for being here in the evening when I'm sure you'd rather be eating dinner with your friends and family than being here. But thank you for doing this. Nighttime noise. I'll start with that. There's 4 points that I want to make. Nighttime noise. We live directly across the street from St. Mark's Church, which has a large parking lot, which is open and free. As you can imagine, anybody that's going into the bars in the evening or late at night, they're either going to find a space on the street if they can, or St. Mark's Church is kind of like a magnet because I think it's the only free lot within proximity of the downtown area. Everything else has been a lot that you pay for. The parking isn't the problem. The problem is when the bars start closing and everybody comes back out to go get their cars, ostensibly to drive away, but that doesn't happen. It happens maybe an hour or 2 hours later. People standing right next to one another talking loud enough for us to hear it in our bedrooms. They wake us up, and then the talking, as will often happen once it's lubricated with a few alcoholic beverages, turns into shouting, and sometimes the shouting turns into violence. I'm trying to remember if it was last year or possibly the year before. In one instance, a gang ganged up on one individual, really beat the bejesus out of him, dragged him out into Pearl Street and left him lying there. And they left. And the police showed up and arrested the person laying on Pearl Street. Turns out they let him go later, but that's the incident, right? That's what happened. And I can get more specific in smaller settings. So the church has been saying that they're going to put an electronic gate on the parking lot. The project has been 3 years in the making and still is not complete. And I don't think it's going to be complete anytime soon. And in fact, during that time, the pastor decided to move out of the free housing that is in the lot and bought a house of his own that's off church property. I don't know why I didn't speak to him, but I got to imagine that the lifestyle was part of it. So we really would like to be able to sleep through the night. And people say we should have central air so we can shut the windows. I'm not sure that's going to work. And frankly, I shouldn't have to change my lifestyle that way. I like having the windows open. We like having the windows open. So that's point number 1. And I have suggested countermeasures here as well, which you can read on your own. Parking congestion, and this is specifically referring to cars taking as much liberty as possible to park as much as they can on Pearl and Gravel Street. So a space that's adequate for 2 cars will have 3 cars in it and encroach in a driveway. We have had our driveway 100% blocked, and I mean 100% bumper to bumper blocked, probably 15 times in the last year. And in one instance, the police officer showed up. It was around midnight. I had a friend coming who's an airline pilot. He wasn't going to be home till 3 o'clock in the morning. And a car was blocking 75% of the driveway. He refused to put a ticket on the windshield. He refused to have the car towed. And I said, you really are going to cause a problem here. This guy's going to show up at night. He has no place to park. And I know I'm out of time, but I'm going to keep going for a minute here. And he refused to do anything, and eventually the owner of the car came the next morning and moved, and our friend had to park out on the street about 2 blocks away from the house. Not okay, especially when there's an empty driveway. So that brings us to point number 3, which is now, the nighttime has
Mr. Morelli,
happened.
your time has expired.
I
We only
understand,
allow
but
5
the
for each.
morning noise is an issue as well. The commercial traffic coming down Pearl Street and Gravel Street is unnecessary. They can use Holmes and Allen Street instead, which are more public roads, instead of coming down a one-lane residential road, blocking it entirely, making noise with refrigerated trucks. All right, so that's an issue. And then finally, the traffic congestion on Main Street. There's 4 crosswalks on the Groton side of the bridge. People don't use the crosswalks well. Either they're doing them one at a time, constantly stopping the traffic, or they're walking between the crosswalks all the time, which causes traffic congestion and a dangerous, hazardous situation. So we should have people manning those crosswalks and having people gathered up into reasonable groups and crossed so that they're safe and it's minimizing the impact on traffic. And thank you very much, and I apologize for being overtime, but this has really impacted our lives. And frankly, we've seriously looked at moving out of Mystic because of it, and I really would rather not do that because we love living in Mystic, or at least we used to. And I'd like to just separate the commercial side from the residential side, which, when we talked about STRs, that's all anybody was talking about. Now that's an old issue. I want to continue to live there, and
Thank you.
we want to continue to live there, and we'd like to be able to do that in peace.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming
very
out.
much for your time.
Thank you. And we have a letter. Shall we submit this for the record as well? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, up next is Margie Gookins.
Good evening. Margie Gookins, 26 Daniel Brown Drive, Mystic, Connecticut. I'm here speaking as a citizen and a taxpayer for the town of Groton. In full transparency, I'm a commissioner on the Community Development Advisory Committee, and I'm also the mother of Mayor Rachel Franco. Tonight, I'm here to actually thank each and every one of you for the countless hours that you volunteer. Your commitment is appreciated by the taxpayers. You sit here listening to some people coming here to complain about what you do and how you do it. Some tell you half-truths, or sometimes blatant falsehoods about you and the work you do. I commend each and every one of you for behaving like the mature, intelligent adults that you are. It's not easy to have people not supporting you or your work, especially when they don't seem to know the rules that the town council must abide by. I would be remiss to not to mention Councilor Parker for being instrumental in making the motion regarding the cannabis funds to be awarded to Always Home. Always Home is just one of the great agencies that serves the citizens of Groton. So thank you, Councilor Parker. I would also like to thank Councilor McBride for helping the public understand the Education Department's health insurance problems. The BOE actually asked for additional money to shore up their insurance account because of excessive claims, according to the superintendent. Imagine my surprise to learn that the Education Department skipped making their fourth quarter installment of close to $400,000, and that they actually had excess funds in that account. I'm sure you must have been just as surprised as I was, Councilor McBride. Councilor Bordelon, I also want to thank you for considering a solution to the Education Department's financial difficulties. Each of the councilors had valid questions to help them understand why the Education Department has had such financial difficulties for the last 2 years. Councilor Bordelon, actually, you voiced what other councilors had been thinking. You asked for a forensic audit to find out where the problems were so they could be fixed. The town council has moved on your suggestion and has implemented the operations review. Even the Board of Ed says they want an operations review. They also said they just didn't want the town council to do it. And they also mentioned that they don't have the funds to pay for their own review. By voting for this investigation and the operation review, you are following the town's charter. As your responsibilities covering your positions, as difficult as that may be. I'm sure the financial difficulties in the education department's accounting practices will be corrected. The Board of Ed should be able to run much more efficiently as they oversee the education department. Maybe one question that was asked at the BOE meeting might be answered. It was asked why the BOE asked for $1.2 million to pay for the school nurses, when the superintendent stated that approximately $400,000 would cover them. Having been in finance during my career, I would never be able to answer that question. Even the superintendent seemed lost for words to explain the huge difference in funds. This is why this operational review is seriously necessary, and that is just my opinion. Each of you have enriched the town of Groton. I wish I had the time to acknowledge each of you individually, and I'll end with a simple thank you to each of you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay, seeing no others, we will move on to our consent calendar. And thank you for coming out and speaking this evening. Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar. Councilor Parker, would you like to take those?
I make a motion to accept 2024-854, September 3rd, 2024, and September 10th, 2024 minutes, as well as this 2024-112 special trust fund contributions for October. I so move.
Second. Moved by Parker, seconded by Rusk. Does anybody have any changes or comments they'd like to make on the
Madam Mayor,
consent calendar? Councilor Parker.
thank you. I just want to thank everyone for their contributions. It's greatly appreciated, helping all of our residents here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a vote on the consent calendar as the motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that passes 9-0 to 0. Moving on, communications and reports, other than committee reports from the town councilors. Councilor Merritt, do you have anything you would like to share this evening?
Not really.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to say that I attended a SCAD dedication and rededication of a building. I forgot to mention this last week. It was last week. And it was a great honor to be there for a longtime friend of mine who's been a nurse at SCAD for 26 years. And one of the buildings were named after her. And it was just great to see, this type of work being done and the expansion of their program and dedication of a newer building and a building that was rededicated. I obviously listened to some Board of Ed meetings, other town meetings virtually when I can. Let's see. Also, dear and dear to me, it's October 1st. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As a almost 45-year-old woman, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 39. I just hit my 5 years of survivorship after 36 rounds of radiation, 12 rounds of chemo, and still getting treatment daily, monthly. I cannot stress enough that, the importance of early detection and advocacy for yourself, especially in the minority community, where my cancer was not able to be detected, and it was before the age of a mammogram. And I found it myself. So be your own advocate, listen, and it's very vital for people who have lost loved ones to breast cancer and other cancers, as well as the survivors and the people who have battled. It's an ongoing fight daily. It's, yes, you hit the 5 years, but every day it's a challenge with the side effects and other things that they're going through. So the fight is never over. And it's the most important to have family, your children and friends to support you through those journeys. So I just can't stress enough, and I'll be sending over a request for a proclamation for Breast Cancer Month like I usually do. I just didn't send it out yet. But again, in our community, we have high levels of breast cancer before the age of 40. And again, I'm open with mine. Mine was stage 3. And again, had I waited till 40, it could have been 4 or 5, at the end. So again, get your mammograms, get your screening, advocate for yourself if something's not right. If insurance won't cover it, fight it, and talk to your doctors. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you're watching tonight and you're still undecided, watch the debate. That's all I got.
Thank you. Counselor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the launch of Groton 2023, which is the Plan for Conservation and Development. I attended with Mayor Franco, Councilor Jones, Councilor Gajewski, Councilor Parker. It was great to see everybody there and so many community members there. If you are interested in being a part of that discussion, please go to the survey on Explore More Groton website and definitely get your voice heard, and that is to everybody in the community. I'm also going to take this moment to advocate for people to please attend and walk or give money to the Safe Futures Walk. 2024 is October 6th. It's in Waterford, and I hope that a lot of people will come. It's a wonderful organization, and I just hope everybody will come out and support it. Thank you.
Counselor Jones, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I attended or participated last week in the United Way Food Bank, which was a monthly event that Councilor Parker and I do, along with Councilor Rusk. And so we had 319 families this month. So there's hunger out there, and I encourage anybody who wants to volunteer, and the food is there and available every month. So it's a great thing to do. Also attended the meetings tonight, the kickoff meeting, and I just wanted to thank everybody who supported me on my hike across Scotland that I took part in, in my absence, and my chair get kind of dusty, and and it was successful, and it's a wonderful country and great people, and had a great time, and glad to be back.
Thank you. Councilor McBride.
The only thing I have to report is participated in the State of Connecticut Bottle Bill Advisory meeting today. Nothing significant to report other than, as everyone can imagine, the 10% redemption significantly increased how many bottles were returned. So I don't have the details in front of me. I may report it next meeting, but that initiative clearly had some positive benefits to the recycling and other initiatives in the state. And other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Good to hear. Counselor Gajewski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As previously stated, I attended the Plan of Consultation and Development kickoff tonight with some of my colleagues, and Children First Groton had their monthly meeting today. I ended up missing that meeting due to a work conflict, but they are hosting their annual community cafe on November 18th from 5:30 to 7 at the Groton Community Center. Their theme is nutrition, and childcare will be provided. So for any young parents who want to attend that, they are more than welcome to, and childcare will be provided for them. And that is all for me.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Counselor Parker, I am just like, sorry, I had some other things in my mind. Counselor Parker, I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Of course, the other counselors, fellow counselors have announced the events we've attended, but I volunteered through Thrive 55 for their Sides Without Limits and the Baker's Battle. It was a fundraiser called Dance Without Limits, well-attended. It was a blast to be able to be there and help out. Two of the people that won the Baker's Battle won last year, I believe, so thank you to all the restaurants that participated, and it was a good day. Want to let people know TVCCA has opened, that it opened actually on September 1st, their energy assistance applications. So if you need assistance, please go out. I'd like to thank Councilor Rusk for mentioning Safe Futures Walk. It's near and dear to my heart, and hope you guys can attend and help out, but it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month too, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I did also attend the Plan of Conservation and Development kickoff meeting this evening, and it is so important to our community that people try and fill out this survey. It's on the Explore More website. It's also on www.greater-groton.com/groton-2035.gov. This is where our community can tell Planning and Zoning Commission what we want to see in the next 10 years. This will go into effect in 2025, and this has to do with conservation, housing, athletic fields, parks, businesses. What do you want to see in Groton? What are the things that are important to you? And this is your chance to have your voices heard and shape the direction of our community. So I would encourage everybody and anybody that lives in Groton to get out there and have your voices heard. Also, this evening after I got home from the Plan of Conservation and Development, I walked into the house, and lo and behold, the wild card Major League Baseball game was on between Detroit and Houston. And you're probably wondering, why am I talking about this? Well, there is a Groton connection. So in 2015 and 16, the Mystic Schooners summer baseball seasons, Jason Foley played for the Mystic Schooners both years. He was signed at the Mystic Diner by Detroit and had lived on Judson Avenue in Mystic with an awesome host family both summers. Jake Myers, who also played for the Schooners in the 2015 team with Foley, was then drafted by Houston in 2017. Skip ahead to 2024. Jason and Jake are playing against each other in the MLB wildcard game. That was this series that's going on right now between Detroit and Houston. And this is our Groton connection because they were here. They lived summers here. So the Mystic Schooners are a big contribution to our community. And as we can see them on the big screen now, some of the people that have played here. And I think it's vital to mention it publicly, how these young college players were here, and look at where they are now. So that's all I have today. So moving on. Clerk of the Council, what do you have for us?
Absentee ballots will be mailed out this Friday, October 4th. Early voting starts October 21st, and Election Day, November 5th.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, Clerk of the Representative Town Meeting.
Okay, the next RTM meeting will be Wednesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. at the Thrive 55 Plus. There's currently 3 vacancies, 1 Republican seat in District 3, 2 vacancies in District 4, one of them being a Democratic seat.
Okay, thank you. Town Manager.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I wanted to point out, I forwarded an email to the council this morning. There's an operational analysis of the Shinnecock Golf Course that's just started. They'd like to meet with each counselor. So they're meeting, the email contained the available timeframes, but it's next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can email directly to Mark Berry to set up a time. American Rescue Plan Act funds, as you may recall, at the end of this year, you have to have all funds obligated. We look to have, at this point, Director Reiner is still looking through, trying to see if anyone else is going to be turning back funds, but at this point, around $695,000 that's unallocated. It has to be allocated by December 31st. Now, there is some question as to it's actually obligated. There's some question as to, can it be broadly obligated, as in Council RTM gives it to a general purpose, or do you have to actually have a contract in place for services or equipment? So we're still working with our attorney on that, but that'll be coming to the council soon for discussion. We're working with MDG and the Board of Ed on healthcare options. We're going to set up end of next month, beginning of the month, end of this month, beginning of next month, a presentation on healthcare and talk about options that we could be looking at. And the same presentation is going to be given to the Board of Ed. It'd be Arnisha with us, and of course, Lori Lapine, their HR director there. They'll be in close proximity of each other time-wise, though, so that's coming soon. We're just checking on the MDG, our third-party administrator's availability. Just to mention ARPA funds at Human Services, it's down to approximately $5,000. Let's see, as we put up the protective equipment around Steamboat Wharf downtown, one of the things I heard most about was people want more solar compactors in downtown Mystic. The question is, you got to cross the street, why don't we have it here? So, and I know Parks and Rec have saved quite a bit of time on going out to their park and a couple of the parks by having these, so we definitely want to get more of those soon. The Athletic Fields Task Force, as you know, had the presentation recently. They're going to incorporate comments into their next round of plans, and there'll be another public presentation. For the Complete Streets study, same thing, they had a presentation. They also received over 500 completed surveys, which is really good. Those will be incorporated, and then the Complete Streets Committee focus group will review that afterwards. Nautilus Dock is moving along pretty well. There's one last piece of equipment ordered that hopefully will come in this week. So yeah, all the rest of the equipment's in, so hopefully end of this month, end of October it'll be done. The RFP for Groton Heights former elementary school bid package went out today. The due date is on December 2nd at 2 p.m. And is posted to the town's bid page, the state's bid page, and the town's excess property page. The Pleasant Valley RFP we'll do in a couple of months. We need some time staggered. We can't take on both of those at the same time. And then planning staff is going to come to our next COW on October 29th to give a status update on both of those. So. Oh, and then I did speak with Mr. Murley before the meeting, got his information, gave him my information. We're going to meet with the chief, and I think he's got some ideas that could be incorporated more easily than others, so we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. So then, committee reports, I'm sorry, Councilor Bordelon?
Through the mayor to the town manager, I sent a request, I'm catching up on my email, sorry, I've been traveling a little bit, about a request after one of our meetings when we had that, nice presentation about the open space and stuff, sent a referral, just seeing if I can get the support for discussion, to talk about the differences in the lowest area being District 3, not having as much accessibility for open space. And I was wondering, did it get any support?
It has not today. I did resend it out today, though.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Okay, so committee of the whole from the mayor. Councilor Bordelon and I had attended the Athletic Fields Task Force presentation. I just wanted to let the council know that it is on GMTV, and I would like to let the council know that it might be behoove you to watch it, because there was a lot of really good information in there and discusses a lot of things that you may not understand about some of the athletic fields in the community. And town manager, will they be giving the same presentation to the council, or should we just watch it?
Well, I think the next time there's a presentation, some of those suggestions will be incorporated, so it will not be exactly the same. So I do recommend you watch the video.
Okay, I would too, because it was very informative. I also submitted a referral that had received support, and I would just like to, I'll read it publicly, saying I make a referral to the Town Council Committee of the Whole to discuss a potential requirement for all town boards, commissions, committees, and task force to receive training in FOI and Robert's Rules of Order, as well as respective chairs, to implement usage of said training in their meetings. That had received support, so that will be coming to the council for discussion. And that's all I have at this time. Personal and appointments, Chair Jones.
No meeting, no report?
Rules, Chair Parker.
No meeting, no report.
Public Safety, Chair Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as I reported last week, we met on the 17th of September. We met with Groton Ambulance and Mystic River Ambulance Associations to discuss a funding plan to move forward. Our next meeting is October 29th at 4:30.
Did you say October 24th?
October 29th.
29th. Thank you. Okay, on to new business.
I had a quick question.
Oh, I'm sorry, your question?
Just say through the mayor, if you can answer it, or through public safety, any updates on looking at flood signs for our community to, I know I had sent over an email with all the examples after the presentation in Mystic, and one of the concerns is, it's a lot of money to implement a lot of things, but just making the community aware that there's flood zones in areas that weren't flooding before, and looking at the signage issues. I'm not sure where that stands, if it will come to the council at all anytime soon.
You may, Chair Rusk.
Thank you. So we met on that probably 3 months ago, I want to say, and it went to planning and zoning, and they were going to look at going forward with that.
I guess through the
Mr.
mayor
Burt?
to the town manager. I didn't know. if the
Mr.
town-
Burr
yeah,
has something to
okay,
add.
yeah.
I was going to mention, DOT, in terms of, for example, Airport Road, any DOT road, we found that they're extremely restrictive on what they allow. Basic flood, as a matter of fact, they have flipped out signs. They told us we might want to get a clip to hold it in place and come out. That's the level we're talking. They allow one sign. But we are looking at what we can do in our other parts of town, so.
Through the mayor, just thank you for that, because I know a couple times, I know we had spoken, there were constantly people getting trapped under that bridge in the floods, the water, and the rescue going out there. And then some of the Mystic roads, as a person who grew up on High Street in Mystic, like Pearl Street and certain roads, like, I'm here, I live here full-time, so I'm aware that they flood more, but a lot of people that come back to the area or that are visiting, staying in rental places aren't aware that some of these roads are flooding, so I think it will be cool to see what we can do. Thanks for the updates.
Thank you. New business, 2024-820-1, 99 Gold Star Highway, setting a public hearing. Counselor Gieske, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, great.
It's on page 17 of our packet.
That is fantastic. Thank you for providing me that information. Item 2024-820, 99 Gold Star Highway, setting a public hearing. Be it resolved that the town council hereby set a tax equity and fiscal responsibility act public hearing for October 29, 2024. So moved.
Second, Bordelon?
Moved by Gieske, seconded by Bordelon. All right, so just to let the public know, these are items that we have had full discussions in our COW meetings, and this is just, the COW is where we do all of our work, and typically after it moves through there, it comes to our town council, and this is where we give our final approval on it after it's already gone to committee. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I just want to double clarify, because someone had asked me, and I did attend this meeting virtually, and I looked at my notes to try to answer them. I just threw the mayor to the town manager. This is the only thing in our town like this this would be like the first of its kind, basically.
Yeah, it's actually fairly new in Connecticut. There's only been a handful, is my understanding.
All right, and will there be Cliff Notes version of that meeting posted before the public hearing, so people can kind of thumb through the notes to understand, what this is? Because it's, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of thing I'm getting is like, how much is the town having to pay? What is this, not everyone has time to watch the meeting, so I think it would be important if we
Let me
could-
take a look at that.
Okay.
And then there, of course, is going to be an official posting also.
Perfect. Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, I don't see any more hands, so let's take a vote on 2024-820-1, 99 Gold Star Highway, setting a public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 9-0. Up next is 2024-797-1, Mad Vac Litter Vacuum Vehicle. Counselor McBride, would you like to take that one?
Sure, thank you. Item number 2024-797, Mad Vac Litter Vacuum Vehicle. I'd like to make a motion that the town council approve using $37,906.98 from NIPS funds received in fiscal year 2024 $37,453.55 in fiscal year 2025 NIP funds, and the remaining $24,639.47 from the fleet fund to purchase the litter vacuum vehicle, and to refer this item to the RTM per Rule 6.5.3.
Second, Pacino.
Moved by McBride, seconded by Pacino. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. I'm not sure where the vote's going to go on this, but I know I was kind of an outlier on this, which is okay. I'm fine with being that. If I vote no on this or abstain, it's not for the support of picking up the litter in our community. It's the allocation of the funding. I think it should be fully funded by the NIP program. I think that's what the money is, best used for, and the other money can kind of flow after. I do not think we should take it out of our fleet fund. Also, for me, as a community that sat on the council that wanted to make sure that we were, more green, more environmentally conscious community, as well as making sure we're decreasing our carbon footprint. I didn't feel that the presentation, and it's no disrespect, but they didn't really speak a lot, and there wasn't a lot of information about the electric vehicle. And in fact, it was more like, well, the other towns are doing this. I did reach out to Bridgeport, and I'm waiting to hear back for some more information about their diesel vehicle and what their reasoning was. But again, I feel like it's not urgent. We haven't had one, and I fully think that we should be looking at the electrical model in other ways. It just, to me, to see a diesel sucking trash picker-upper kind of, I presented it to some younger people that are very environmental conscious, and they said, that sounds like a double negative. It's you're picking up the trash, but you're doing it with a diesel vehicle. I guess we're winning in one ways, but we're still losing in others, and that's what I stand by. So tonight, I will not support a diesel trash vehicle. I think there's better uses and more environmentally sustainable ways to go about this. Also, I do not agree with the allocations of the funds. I didn't have the support, so I wouldn't make the motion again tonight. But I think that this should be fully funded, and the increase in the cost of the electric vehicle could be covered. So again, these vehicles last for quite some time, and I think we should be ahead of the curve. And it's, in my opinion, for me, so what, that other communities don't have an electric vehicle? Let's stand out. Let's be a forerunner. Let's get out there and do it, and make that initiative. So I did some research on some of them, and went on some different websites, and they state that they're in Canada, they were using them, and they had no problems. So that would be my opposition. Not that I'm not in support of trash receptacle vehicle. It's the mode in which we're getting it, and the money coming out of fleet, and the lack that it's not an environmentally friendly vehicle that's doing an environmentally friendly job. So thank you.
Okay, I see no other hands. Let's take a vote. 2024-797-1, the Medvac litter vacuum vehicle. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
So that passes 8-0-1. Moving on to 2024-836-1, the grant writer and administrator position and job description. Counselor Jones, would you like to take that one?
Thank you. Item 2024-836, grant writer and administrative position and job description. Resolved that the town council approves the new position of grant writer and administrator and the job description for this position to be located in the Office of Planning and Development Services as a full-time, non-union role with a range of $72,563 to $101,588 per annum. So moved.
Second, Bordelon?
Moved by Jones, seconded by Bordelon. Counselor Bordelon.
Through the mayor to the town manager, I was looking back at some old notes before, many years ago when I was on the RTM as well. The town at one point did have a grant writer, is that correct?
Not in my time here.
Not in your time, but maybe before.
I think there was at some
Yeah.
point, I believe
Right.
so.
All right, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm just.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah, and I don't know if they were part-time and they did a split something, but I think they did a dual. I did digging in some of my archives, and that's what I could see. So for me, it's tough because I feel like we're not in a budget cycle right now to be, allocating funds. Funds are always tight, and we're coming into budget season, obviously. But I do think that this position, if it's the right fit for the right person, and we actually are, and that person is aggressively seeking grants, it's gonna pay for itself. And those all have to be contingent, you can't be, anyway, I think it could be a very lucrative position, and it's going to kind of be a wash with a huge benefit. So we're not gonna really see the cost of the position. In fact, we're gonna see the revenues coming in. So that's what I'm in support of. And I think, we had this at one time, and I was looking, and I talked to some older counselors and other folks that served that told me that this was in place and the things it was able to do. Obviously, we've grown and we've changed, but I do think in order to get those competitive grants, we do need someone who's facilitating these and also tracking these. I guess through the town manager, this person would also be staying in contact with the state and making sure they're aware of when these are coming out and what things would fit our town as well.
Mayor. I just wanted to make sure everybody understands the expectations. The first year, it's 100% paid by ARPA dollars. A lot of the time, this fiscal year will be spent on ARPA. There should be some time for other grant items. Yes, once they're more into the grants, yes, they'll fully be doing that. Next year will be half and half, and then just a little bit of ARPA the following year. So it is more ARPA this year, half next year, and then going mostly to grants. I just want to make sure that's, I don't want to get to the end of this year and say, what grant, give me the list of grants. So, because it's not paid out of general fund for this year.
Okay. And then my last question to the mayor, to the town manager, why did we get rid of our grant? Do we know why that position went away?
I don't know, because it was before my time, assuming if there was one.
Those would be great questions when, I think those would be good things to pull up when we're presenting agenda items. I think, because, some of these questions were posed to me and I couldn't answer them. It would be, when we're reallocating a new position back, it'd be good to know what were the reasons at the time. And it could have been just people were making random cuts. Yeah.
I just got an answer to that. There was a position created, not filled, the permission was never given to fill it, and then it got taken away. So it was filled.
Got it. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Again, I think it's no brainer for me. I think it's going to fill the ARPA tail end and roll into hopefully something bigger and greater. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McBride.
Actually, thank you. I was going to point out what Town Manager Burt just pointed out about the funding, so I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other hands, and just as a reminder to anybody at home that just tuned in, these were all discussed in our COW, and all the work was done there, and many questions and discussions and debate were had in COW. This is where we finalize our decisions. So, taking a vote on 2024-836-1, grant writer and administrator position and job description. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 9-0. Moving on to 2024-830-1, Calvin Burrows scoreboard replacement. Counselor Rusk, would you like to take that one? That one is on, anybody following along, is on page 20 of our packet.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 2024-830, Calvin Burrows scoreboard replacement. Be it resolved that the Town Council authorize the appropriation of $4,106 from the contingency fund for the purchase of a new scoreboard. So moved.
Second, Bordelon.
By Rusk, seconded by Bordelon. For full disclosure, I would like to let everybody know that my husband is the president of Groton Little League. He does not receive compensation for his role. He is a volunteer, and we received no financial advantage for him being in this position. So that's just full disclosure, so I can vote on this. Councilor Bordelon.
I think it was, thank you. I know it was brought up that we talked about the Athletic Fields Task Force, and this, to me, ties right into that. We have to support our infrastructure and our youth leagues and sporting events in our area. When looking at our comparison to other municipalities, sometimes we do fall behind when, we come out with these great ones, we have top of the end, and then somewhere along the way, we stall, and it never gets, maintained or updated. So I do think this is critical. We're looking at ways, we're looking at the opioid crisis, we're looking at all the different drug addiction and social emotional issues going on in our country. Athletic, sports, and recreation things are vital to our community, for our youth to have something to do and to enhance their welfare and well-being. So To me, this is just part of that, and it's very important. So fully in support of it. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other hands, we're going to vote on 2024-830-1, Kelvin Burrows scoreboard replacement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 9-0. Up next is 2024-827-1, cannabis tax revenue disbursement. Page 21 of our packet. Counselor Pacino, would you like to take that one?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 2024, 820, oh my God, 827, cannabis tax revenue disbursement resolution. Be it resolved that the town of Groton authorizes $53,250.64 from FY 2024 cannabis revenues to be awarded to Always Home, to be used solely for Groton, town of Groton residents, and be it further resolved that the request be forwarded to the representative town meeting, RTM, for consideration via Rules 6.5.3.
Second, Parker?
Moved by Pacino, seconded by Rusk.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Just to fully disclose again, as I did last week, I work for United Way of Southeastern Connecticut. United Way of Southeastern Connecticut gives grant dollars to Always Home. That is a part of United Way that I do not work in. I work at the Gemma Moran Food Center. So I will be voting on this, but I just wanted to give full transparency.
Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. Definitely in fully support of Always Home. I do attend a lot of their fundraisers throughout the year. I encourage folks to get out there and come support them. There's a lot of different things in the summer. They have a lot of different activities. So they do a lot for our community. As you know, Groton does not have a homeless shelter or people in need shelter, so people have to go into outside resources or go to New London Homeless and Hospitality. So I think it's important and vital that they try to intercept folks before they get to that critical need. What I'm not okay with is the process. It was also, similar to our opioid money and other monies that have come in that we're getting. I think there should be a fair and open access process. Not saying that Always Home wouldn't have been the one selected. I probably would have considered them one of the top ones, especially coming into the winter. But I think it's very important that other community stakeholders are like, hey, we didn't even get a chance to sign up or, ask. So I'll support this tonight, but I do think the council has to. It's very vital moving forward with all funding that's coming in, that we come up with a plan and a process if we're going to open it up to outside agencies. If the money or funds are being used directly in the town of Groton to enhance our welfare and well-being in some ways, then obviously there wouldn't, that's something we discussed and we can move forward. Meaning if the funding was used to support something on the town side. But if we're using funds to open it up to outside agencies, I just think we really do need a fair and equitable process so other community stakeholders have a chance to know about these funds, as well as have a chance to fill out a short form of interest of some way, let it be an online document or whatever. So that is my thoughts. I know with like the opioid funds, they could be used for, different things in our community, and again, I just feel like people should have the chance to present their side of what asked to come. And obviously then the council will determine how it's allocated or possibly split it up between multiple nonprofits or agencies that come forward. So, but again, tonight I will support this. I think Always Home is a wonderful agency in our community and a vital resource. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote on 2024-827-1, cannabis tax revenue disbursement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 9-0. We have 2023-1043-9, open agenda items. Does anybody have a discussion that they would like to discuss any of the items on here?
Motion to adjourn.
I don't hear a second on the motion to adjourn. Is there a discussion on the open agenda items, 2023-1043-9 for open agenda items? I will say that The Sutton Park completion, from some information by talking to the town manager, and some additional available ARPA funds that are being opened up for council consideration. We're going to bring those items to our agenda item, our next agenda item. Is that correct?
That's the plan.
That is the plan.
I'm
So,
not sure you mentioned it.
yeah, so
Point of clarification, what was that that's coming forward?
Sutton Park completion,
Okay, thank
to
you.
discuss that, as well as some ARPA money that has opened up that the
Thank you.
council needs to make some decisions about.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes,
could I point out, the ARPA will be at the 29th meeting because we're waiting for an attorney's opinion on what does obligated mean? So ARPA will be on the 29th. We are going to start a discussion though next week on fund balance level, and I anticipate it'll likely take more than one meeting. So we'll start that discussion though.
so the ARPA's on the 29th. Our next meeting, we're going to do fund balance, and we're also going to be bringing Sutton Park,
Yes.
because, to see what we have remaining and the cost associated with that. And then we had also discussed, the town manager and I, that there is the community center decision, including funding. This has been brought up, and there were at least 4 supporters of this. I'm not sure if some of the new counselors have listened to the presentation that was made in the previous council to understand all the ins and outs of that. So at some time, I think we're
We
going
can
to have,
certainly give a presentation on
we
it.
will have to do a presentation again on that in the future.
Point of clarification,
Yes?
or question as well. I think it'd also be vital because that converted middle school to the rec center started back when I was on the RTM, so we probably should just do that. There was a bunch of phases, and I remember being on the RTM and voting on one of the phases, so I think it just kind of, that presentation just to be cumbersome.
I think we have something that shows all of that.
Perfect, thanks.
I'll make sure though.
Yeah, thank you.
And then,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think-
The ATV ordinance we discussed in the Public Safety Committee, it is currently with the attorney, and I believe the attorney is going to bring that forward soon with some proposed changes.
I'll be putting it on the agenda for next week. The attorney has reviewed and recommended some changes. He won't be here for it. I'll just provide what came out of public safety and what the recommended changes are.
Thank you.
All right, also, there was parks on the west side, D4, conversations with the town manager. He's going to look into some of the properties that the town actually owns in that area, is that correct? And look to
Yes, and I
see-
do know that Director Barry and one of his staff had driven by, now the smaller one by the base may be too steep there, but I'm going to go by and check out each property myself, and I'd like to find some time to actually walk them so I can get a better feel of them, so.
Okay. There was also potential for, if we have some opening of funding for holiday street decorations, because I don't know about all of you, but there has been much correspondence with residents who have asked for more holiday decorations within our community when it comes to, winter, in the wintertime. Mr. Burt?
There's been some looking into that, just along Route 1 and anything that, in ground utility poles, any of that, we're not going to be able to put decorations on. That's not allowed. What we're probably would be looking at is buildings. We have, it could be Common Place Park, Town Hall, Human Services, Library, Thrive, those type of things, but it's probably not going to be on the major roads.
Right, and you had said that commercial holiday decor can be quite
It can be pretty
expensive.
pricey, yeah.
Yeah.
I've bought some before.
So, but that is something that we could look at, some potential ARPA funding, or even if we get down towards closer to December and we have some money left over, we might want to put that towards.
And you gotta start
potential.
somewhere, it'd be nice to.
Right,
Yeah.
even if it's lights. Is there any, the NIMP miniature bottle funding buyback program, have you heard anything further on that? Any update?
No, not at this
No update
point.
yet?
No, we kind of told them that it wasn't a rush since we weren't going to have the first allocation of funds.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing if there was anything new.
I'll check. I have a Thursday meeting with them.
All right, and then there's community recreational events. we would like, it said an increase of those type of things. Is there any potential when you go into budget deliberations with your departments that you'll be having those type of discussions with your staff?
I'll discuss with Director Barry. I know part of, they've been having trouble finding staff, had a lot of turnover, so they haven't really delved into it much so far, but I'll touch base with them.
All right. Councilor McBride.
Just a question or comment. I read about the Stonington side trying to do something with the Mystic Parking. Are we working with them or collaboratively on that, or what's?
Not on that, is that, well, we have looked at that system. We of course had a joint committee going for a couple of years with them, and I actually just had a meeting with First Selectman Chesebro last week, just to get updated on exactly what they're doing. So there, there's been no final determination on the system there yet, but we are in discussions, as well as there's now that state created Mystic task force, which one of the 3 subcommittees is infrastructure, mostly being parking. So, we just started looking at that there also. So, but yes, Constance, and she's on that also, so.
And just a quick follow-up to the same thing that you just asked, because that's also on our list of goals with 6 supporters. We had funded a parking, I don't know, some kind of application equipment for parking.
Yes.
Tickets, and,
It's not in yet, but I know it's in the works. I'll get an update to you.
right, because I thought that might be one of the first stages in seeing if we could make any impact with parking tickets first.
I was pretty excited about this other system, and I think, we're gonna need to figure something out, but I didn't like the 49-cent charge, even if you were gonna waive the cost to the local municipality, so we'll have to really see what options, and obviously try everything else we can first.
Right, and from the article in the paper, Stonington was having issues whether it was local resident parking for free or your guests, and they didn't know what they were gonna do, and they were trying to
Right.
figure things out because there were issues.
Yeah.
And do you have any kind of timeline on the Connecticut Veterans Services Director position? I know Counselor Pacino and Counselor Jones are also working on that. Do you have any kind of timeline?
I was just looking through some of the materials the other day. I've just tried to get through some things. I do anticipate that being pretty, going shortly, but I was going to talk to Counselor Jones about that.
I'll try re-engaging on that. I just really have 2 more things to do with it, and then I can try to pull all that information together. So
Right,
I'll try to
it's
move that up.
Yeah, it's very in-depth, and there's a lot
It's
of.
a lot of pieces.
things.
Yeah,
A lot of pieces.
yesterday, the annual notice went out for veterans tax breaks, and it reminded me that we do have to jump on that.
I'll try to re-engage and do the next 2
All right.
things I need to do.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn by Rusk. Second by Bordelon. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 9-0. It is 7:33. We are adjourned.
That's a record.